Did you miss me?
James 005 was a Spartan-II super soldier, and one of many to be lost during the fall of Reach. But did he die, or is he truly missing in action? To attempt to find an answer, we'll have to look at the circumstances surrounding his final moments, what we do and what we don't know, and see if there's any evidence that he could have survived his fateful encounter with the Covenant at Reach's Gamma Station. On August 30th, 2552, the Pillar of Autumn, which was on a course outbound from the Epsilon Eridani system, turned around in response to a distress call from the planet Reach. The Covenant had arrived. Following this, a separate distress call from Reach's orbital station Gamma was intercepted by the Pillar of Autumn. A docked prowler known as the Circumference had firewalled itself against the station's computer to prevent any intrusion into its secretive mission. When the Covenant attacked, it was still undergoing upgrades to its stealth capabilities, making it unable to flee. It therefore became an unintentional violation of the Cole Protocol, as its navigational data had not been purged, meaning the Covenant could capture it and use its database to discover the location of Earth. Spartans John 117, Linda 058, and James 005, who constituted Blue Team for this mission, were dispatched from the Pillar of Autumn in a modified Pelican dropship to destroy the Prowler's nav data. As they approached Gamma Station, however, 3 Covenant frigates exited slipspace in front of them. Blue Team managed to avoid the attention of the enemy vessels, all 3 of which initially seemed to be inert, but their Pelican was unable to properly slow down due to the speed at which they had left the Pillar of Autumn, which resulted in their crashing into the station. The Pelican had previously been modified by Spartans Fred 104 and James 005. They had attached charges of C-12 to its nose for the purpose of creating an entrance in the likely locked-down Gamma Station. The dropship crashed its aft section into the station, shredding the engines but preserving the C-12. None of the Spartans had been wounded by the impact, and once they left the Pelican's holding bay, the Master Chief ordered James to retrieve the C-12 explosives from the dropship's nose. James promptly set out to do so, and had almost finished when Covenant dropships carrying hundreds of troops neared the station. Their Sangheili escorts began showering the Spartans with plasma and needle fire. The Master Chief ordered both Linda and James to retreat behind the Pelican for cover, but James delayed too long, having almost succeeded in recovering the explosives. His EVA thruster pack was struck by a needler shard, and it then exploded, sending him tumbling away from Gamma Station with uncontrollable momentum. James 005 was never seen again, as far as we know. After the Master Chief had completed their mission by destroying the navigation data on board the Circumference, he returned to the Pillar of Autumn with a clinically dead Linda 058, and then went directly to the ship's bridge. He asked Captain Keyes to perform a scan of the region around Gamma Station for even the smallest hope of finding his lost teammate. But according to the Pillar of Autumn's sensors, there was no sign of any active friend or foe tags. However, I don't think this necessarily means that James wasn't still out there and alive, assuming there were no breaches in his armor. Let's examine a quote from Chapter 36, when Captain Keyes has ordered one of his crew to scan the area after the Covenant frigates had been destroyed by the combined fire of an orbital Mac cannon and the Pillar of Autumn. The officer reported that there are millions of hull fragments, radar is useless, thermal is off the charts, everything is hot out there. Shortly afterward, the Covenant's boarding pods were detected, despite the environmental obstructions to the Pillar of Autumn's scanners. It's entirely possible that, given the Pillar of Autumn was on its way out of the Epsilon Eridani system when Chief requested a scan for FOF tags, and the total mess created by the battle in space, one brief scan didn't reveal everything that was there. They hardly had time to complete an exhaustive search, so it is at least a possibility that James was alive out there, somewhere. I'd like to branch out to another relevant topic for a moment, that of June A266. We know that he survived the fall of Reach, although we don't really know how, but it seems like he escaped by himself. It's worth noting the cryptic tweet sent out by Frank O'Connor on this very subject. June's armor systems beeped in protest as the heat-warped seals shrank groaningly towards the gel layer of his tech suit and the flesh beneath. The windless, insistent cold of low orbit leached into the last few amps of life support. Above, less than a mile away, he could see the glitter of a mid-tether service pod. If he could reach that airless cockpit, he could reach a hardline comms booster and a glimpse of salvation. The tower's titanium and carbon fibers shrieked as the counterweight, miles above, continued to disintegrate. Climb, he thought, one gloved hand reaching further into the void and darkness above. Below, reach glowed a Vulcan, baleful crimson. Against all odds, June was able to escape, and it appears he may have done so by contacting UNSC forces. Back to the main subject, could James have done something similar? Could he have been picked up by an escaping human warship? Maybe even by an Oni prowler or some such vessel. Sure, those things could have happened. But did they? It's still only speculation. Another, more interesting, and in my opinion less likely possibility, is that a Covenant vessel found and picked up James and kept him for interrogation or other reasons, perhaps even as a living trophy. The truth is, we don't know the final fate of James 005, and until 343 Industries makes an official comment on his status through tweets, books, comics, games, or some other medium, that's the way it will stay. I do hope, however, that I've piqued your interest in this particular cave of Halo lore, and that maybe you will want to see the return of this dauntless Spartan-II. Earlier in the Fall of Reach novel, he lost his forearm to a hunter, and kept on fighting until he and his team had defeated that hunter and its bond brother. That is perseverance. And maybe, and only maybe, that same perseverance kept him alive during the Fall of Reach. I hope you've enjoyed this lore video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below on what topic in Halo lore you'd like me to cover next, and your thoughts on what might have happened to James 005, and feel free to subscribe. Until we meet again.